Hello and welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast, where we talk entertainment news and random topics we bring to this $34 card table. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and I'm here with my friend Mike Stuglis. How you doing, Mike?
How you doing, Ryan?
I've never been asked that yet. I'm doing good. It's a beautiful Friday night here. We're recording before we each have our individual
I'd
plans.
call it afternoon still. It's
Is
3
it?
o'clock.
It's not beautiful either. It's raining
No,
outside.
It's
sucks
awful,
outside.
actually. I'm just trying to find a silver lining here.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. Dan Stewart over there. How you doing, Dan?
Fuck the red bush, Ryan.
Fuck the red bush. That's a quote from the movie we're reviewing this week, The Lost City of Z. That's coming up.
I don't even know what that means. Like Robert Pattinson's character, Mr. Costin, just says that just kind of in the middle of the movie. Well, no, it's kind of towards the end of the movie, but like they're in the war for some reason, and then he just he just says it. It's pretty cool. I don't know.
More on that later.
Stay tuned.
Going into this week's news headlines, big news, I'd say. Jeff Goldblum joins the Jurassic World sequel. What do you guys think of this?
I give that casting 5 out of 5 Goldblums. That is a Jurassic Park.
Jurassic?
Sorry, I can't speak today. That is a Jurassic Park Jeff Goldblum fucking casting right there. That's 5 out of 5 Goldblums on the casting for Jurassic World.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
a Jurassic.
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 Yeah.
Triassic.
But obviously he'll be reprising the role as Dr. Ian Malcolm. I don't know how he fits into this, but I'm really excited to see. And I always love me some Goldblum.
I agree. I just don't want another Independence Day resurgence where he comes back after like 20 years and just plays himself.
Oh, yeah.
We keep talking about this a lot. You know, we love Jeff Goldblum on this show, but he's getting typecasted now to just play Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they don't do that because Ian Malcolm is the best Jurassic Park character in all the movies. So, yeah, I'm excited to see him back, and maybe him and Chris Pratt. Nope, you can't say that. They have banter. I'm hoping they have banter. Yeah. That's all I'll get with.
Something quick about his role in Jurassic Park that I didn't know. So a lot of people don't know that he was a mathematician in the first movie, but I didn't know why they had a mathematician there. And apparently he was there to assess like insurance risks. That's why they need a mathematician for that. I don't know if companies for insurance actually do that, but like he was just there to be like, oh yeah, there's a high chance this will get fucked up.
If you were opening a fucking theme park with a ton of fucking dinosaurs, you'd want to be like, not only what my life is at risk because there are real dinosaurs here. Like, what are the financial risks here? Like, what would happen if I don't have dino insurance?
Well, let's be honest, though.
Progressive dino insurance.
He didn't do his job because the whole time he was talking about fucking chaos theory and how he's in love with Laura Dern's character.
That's true. I mean, I'm in love with Laura Dern, so that's fair.
Hey, you know what Bill Belichick says?
What's that?
He says, "Do your job." That's what.
All right.
Do. What's our next piece of news here?
The Kingsman 2 trailer dropped, and the Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle, and the first movie was a big hit at the box office. Matthew Vaughn is returning. You bring in some players like Jeff Bridges, Julianne Moore, Halle Berry, and have the movie trailer set to the Frank Sinatra. I can't fucking speak today. Frank Sinatra song.
Channing Tatum.
And Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll kick it off. I can't speak right now. Ryan, what'd you think of the trailer?
The trailer had My Way in it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Frank Sinatra's My Way.
Yes.
Great trailer. They had not revealed too many plot details. A really rare thing these days in trailers. And God, it was great. Everyone was awesome in it. They have a star-studded cast. That's all I got on it. Can't wait.
What I liked about the first one is they took British stereotypes, and that's what they made their spies like.
Yeah.
And in this one, it looks like they're taking the American cowboy stereotypes and using it that way, and it looks pretty awesome. What are you laughing about, Dan?
I don't know. I'm just a happy guy.
Well, it's because me and Dan are the proud new owners of a pair of cowboy boots, and
All right.
I had to make eye contact with them.
We were gonna. That's why I was smiling because we weren't gonna talk about it until later. But we will. Just hold on to that. Hold on to your butts until we get into that cowboy talk. But when the first Kingsman came out, or when like it was first going to come out, I was kind of like uninterested in the film. I didn't think it looked that good. And then I saw it, and I was really surprised, and I think a lot of people were, because it just kind of looked like almost like too childish, but it was really good. Like, it took me by surprise how good it is. Now I'm really excited for the sequel. This trailer was awesome. Huge star-studded cast, like you guys were saying. And Sinatra's "My Way" to lead off a trailer it's just great fucking song. So I'm really excited for this. I'm glad that they were able to get a sequel after the success they had with the first one, and let's see how they can kind of bring in the American cast like Channing Tatum and Jeff Bridges, because those are two good guys right there.
They are. The only possible complications I see in this sequel is maybe I think it'll be handled well because Matthew Vaughn's doing it, but it almost has too many stars, it looks like.
I think they can find their way around that. I mean, like, Mark Hamill was in the last one for like 5 fucking minutes, you know? Like, I think they can handle having that big of a cast. It's like they'll find a way for it. I mean, everybody will play their role fine. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson was great in the last one, and he got to die. Spoiler alert.
He got to die.
You haven't seen the first one. Spoiler alert.
Late now.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, sorry.
They'll juggle it, and maybe like some of the people in there will only be in it for 10 minutes or something.
Yeah.
But hey, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we got on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. I'm pumped.
What's our next fat piece of news here?
What is the next piece of news? I don't
There's a
have it
big
in front of me.
fat sequel to Unbreakable, Mike.
Okay, that one. M. Night Shyamalan's movie Split, which came out this year, kicked ass, and I have yet to see Unbreakable. I've heard great things, but in the post-credits, the two movies coincide, and there will be a sequel to both, and it will be simply called Glass, which from Unbreakable, I understand is the name of Samuel L. Jackson's character, and he will be back playing Glass. James McAvoy will be back playing every fucking character in the movie with his multiple personalities. Bruce Willis will be back, and Anya Taylor-Joy will be back, who is also in Split, and she was the girl who was being creeped on by James McAvoy. Mm-hmm. I'm super excited. I loved Split. It's a movie that actually marinated better. You know, I got out, and I was like, that was a good movie, and then I kind of thought about it more, and I was like, wow, I really want to watch that again because of all the... It felt like almost like a comic book story, but it was so self-contained. You know, it was super cool on how they developed these like meta-humans and shit like that. So I'm super excited, and it seems like M. Night's back on track too because he was off pace for a while. So yeah, I'm super stoked. Dan, what do you think?
Well, I loved Split. I loved The Sixth Sense. Nobody loved Avatar, The Last Airbender. Well, the show was good, but the movie was not. But like you said, M. Night was kind of off for a little bit. He wasn't making hits. But Split was really fucking good, dude. Like, it was creepy, it was weird, and when the trailer first dropped, like, I said, wow, I want to see that. It was really good, didn't reveal too much of the plot, and then it came out, and I was surprised that it was an Unbreakable sequel. I've never seen Unbreakable, but I know that Samuel L. and Bruce Willis are in it. Or Woo Sprillis, as I would like to call him. So I'm very excited. I'm glad that M. Night's got a whole little fucking movie Avengers universe going on here. Like, is The Last Airbender going to show up in the next one?
Probably not.
No.
Is Haley Joel Osment going to show up? And he's seeing dead people?
I don't know.
Probably not.
Let me tell you something about Haley Joel Osment. All of my life, when I meet new people, everyone says that I look exactly like Haley Joel Osment, and for that, I resent him because
Why?
Because I hate that everyone says that. I mean, it's true, but just hearing it all the time, I'm plagued by it.
What a
follows
child
me.
star he is, though.
Yeah, and
But he's the voice of Sora in Kingdom Hearts. I love Haley Joel Osment. I follow him on Twitter.
well, you know, it just hurts to be compared to a child when you're 20 years old. So.
Well, I mean, he looked, well, now he's got a beard. Like, he doesn't look the same.
No, but
He's not going to be in the fucking movie either.
no.
So.
And as a man who hasn't seen either of these movies between Split and Unbreakable,
Did we see Split with you?
No, I wasn't there.
It was
doing
Brookshire. I had that thought the other day too. I'm like, Ryan, weren't you
something. No,
there?
I wasn't there, and
Oh.
and your boy Ryan hasn't seen a lot of movies, so I obviously haven't seen either of those. And
Well, they're good.
but hey, yeah,
Very
I hear that, and I'm excited, and that's all I can really say about that.
I hope that James McAvoy's the focal point because, God damn it, he was so good in that role.
I got a feeling like they might do it like a Batman movie where like there's always like two villains in every Batman movie, and I feel like, you know, like he might be the main one, or if he's like the off one, then he is like kind of like the main one at the end of the movie. You know, Batman movie formula. You guys know what I'm talking about. I don't have to explain this.
All right.
Like Jim Carrey is the Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones is Two-Face.
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking
That's
about.
what we're going off.
Dan, what do you got for our next story?
Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze.
And Joker.
Bane was in that one too.
Joker and Two-Face and The Dark Knight and Batman Returns was Catwoman and Penguin.
Michelle Pfeiffer was Frosty in that movie.
Yeah.
She has a lot of like
Danny
puss
DeVito.
metaphors and whatnot.
Danny DeVito, literally the perfect Penguin of all time. You have to say, like that guy was born to play Penguin.
I could also see younger Joe Pesci playing the Penguin.
Yo, hey, what the fuck? Could you imagine? That'd be nuts. Be like Batman and like an Italian mob story. In the fucking Oswald Cobblepot's just a little fucking Italian guy. And he's just pissed off all the time. Like that is an interesting take on the character. If Joe Pesci doesn't come out of retirement to do The Irishman for Marty Scorsese, he should be the Penguin in the Batman, because you know they're going to be recasting everybody in that. It seems like.
What is our next story? We have news to do. The people depend on us.
Cars 3 trailer.
That's right.
Shit, it looked fucking amazing, dude. Like I'm like so excited for Cars 3 now. Like the teaser. Let's go back to around, I'd say like
A couple months,
October, November, when they first dropped a teaser for Cars 3. Like that looked so intense. And this was the first official like trailer. And oh my God, it looks so good. Like I'm surprised because Pixar sequels, the way they've gone is they're all good except for Cars 2. Cars 2 was one of the worst pieces of crap I have ever seen in my entire life. So when they announced Cars 3, I was like, holy shit, no, God, please, no. What are they going to have, like an hour and a half fucking movie about Luigi and the other little fucking tire
Only
asshole?
one shot of Mater in the trailer.
Yeah, so because that's the
Maybe
thing,
he's not
the whole Cars 2 was too much Mater, dude. Like, obviously Mater is a lovable character in the first Cars, you know, but then they made the second movie about him, and it was just fucking terrible, dude. Like, so bad. But this Cars 3 trailer brings in new characters, kind of gives a new perspective on the whole Cars universe. Like, Lightning McQueen's older. He's going to retire from racing type of thing. Like, the Rocky 3 of Cars movies is what this is going to be. And the director of it is a brand new guy who was just like a storyboard artist for Pixar, and he was just a fan of the first Cars movie, and now he's directing the third one. I think that's so cool that Pixar is just farming people who are fans of them and have worked for them for a couple of years doing kind of like smaller production value stuff. And now he's directing a Pixar film. Like, that's got to be crazy for that guy. But it looks like he's taking a very interesting route on this story and this Cars whole universe. And I'm very excited about it. What do you guys think?
Anyone else think it looked very similar to the narrative of the first one?
Absolutely.
Of like, yeah, that's what I got. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It just looked a lot similar. If Lightning
I don't
has to
know.
go away and retrain himself a little
But that
bit.
wasn't it. Lightning got lost in the first one. It wasn't like he was forced to do it. This one's like,
Okay.
you know, like I'm going to compare him to the Rocky movies because this is the way it seems. So in the Rocky in Rocky 2, like Rocky, obviously he's gained fame now. He fought Apollo Creed, but he's just kind of like in the flash and spotlights and everything like that. And then people are calling him a fake, phony fighter, and he needs to train again and fight Apollo again. And it's the same kind of thing. Him and Apollo have parallels in that film. But, like, he needs to prove himself. Like, they went 15 rounds, and they're calling Apollo a bum. They're calling Rock a bum. Rock starts working at Mix, and he's taking spit in buckets. And then they're just like, hey, let's fight again. Rocky becomes world champion. Spoiler alert for the 1979 film Rocky 2.
So how does it connect back to Cars?
So then in Cars 3, he's like on top of the world all of a sudden, but then there are new fighters. Clubber Lang, Jackson Storm is the new car.
Yeah.
And Rocky's got to go back to his roots to get that Eye of the Tiger back and get back on top. And then, so that's the way it seems. It seems like it's going to be like the ultimate, it's going to be like a comeback story,
Okay.
And that's why, and Cars 1 wasn't necessarily a comeback story. It was moreover like he's an asshole and he needs to learn how to be humble.
Gotcha.
So he did that. And now in this one, he's learned how to be humble, but some new hotshot asshole. It's kind of like him from the past. Like he lost his Eye of the Tiger, but now he needs to get it back.
I completely understand what you're saying.
So,
What do you think, Ryan?
Well, the thing is, when we got that first teaser trailer a few months back, it very much seemed like Cars is taking a different tone here. They're gonna change ground. They're gonna be breaking some barriers here. Then we get the official trailer, and I didn't even realize that until you said it, that it completely parallels the first one.
I liked how
Granted,
Dan explained it, but
how he gets
saw.
there is different, but it's another thing of just I'm knocked down. I got to get myself up again. And the trailer is plagued by the usual problem we have of let's show every facet of what's going to happen in the movie in the trailer. And so you already can predict what's going to be happening, which is a problem. I'm sure the movie will still have candid moments. I'm sure it'll still be a lot of fun and probably a good movie. But it doesn't break ground like it implies.
I think you could definitely see from the trailer the plot line it's going to take.
Yeah.
But they did a good job of hiding the action sequences,
That's true.
the car chases, and I think there'll be some heart to it too.
Absolutely.
With the new character. So that's what I'm glad they hid. Because going into a Pixar movie, I'm not going to be overly critical of the plot. What makes Pixar great is their smaller moments.
You're right, and it's something I should probably not take as seriously.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, like, it's not like the next Christopher Nolan movie where we don't want to know the plot going in, like, it's a Pixar film, so it, like, sit back.
It's going to have a happy ending.
Say back in the day, like, Toy Story 2, like, revealed that there was going to be like another factory buzz, and you'd be like, oh, well, I know the whole thing. It's like, well, it's going to be a happy ending. It's a Pixar movie, Speaking of Toy Story 4, 2019, Incredibles 2, 2018. Pixar's got some cool shit coming out.
Yeah.
Even that Coco movie, dude.
Yeah, that did look kind of.
The Coco movie looks kind of cool.
The
it's
guitar
like
one,
the guitar
right?
one, yeah. And he goes to it's in Mexico. He goes to the land of the world of the dead or whatever when he plays the guitar. It looks pretty cool.
It's a female protagonist, actually.
Classic
chick.
Disney route. It is.
Yeah.
It is a chick.
No way, that's a little boy, dude.
It's a chick.
Are you sure, dude?
But we got one more news story to cover, guys. Let's keep moving on. We got one more thing here.
All right, we're excited for Cars 3. This came out this morning, dude. This is a brand new news story, and I'm fucking hyped about it. Like, my favorite television show ever of all time, Psych, apparently is in the works to have a movie. Now, I follow all the stars of Psych on Twitter. I follow James Roday, Dule Hill on Twitter. And I follow Psych TV on Twitter. And there's, like, none of them have said anything about
I just
this.
saw on IMDb right before the show that they can start shooting maybe by summer.
Wow.
Actually, so it seems like they're actually on schedule to do something.
This is incredible. Like I said, it's my favorite show of all time. I love the banter and the humor between Sean and Gus, the main characters. But as of right now, like all of the stars' focus is on Dule Hill has a new movie coming out this weekend. Is Slight. And they say that's really good, actually, but that's not what this is about. So I've been kind of watching the Stars Twitter page, and they're all tweeting about Dule Hill. They're promoting him, being a friend to him. But if they were to come back and do this, I remember like last year, somebody asked on Twitter to James Roday, they said, "When is the Psych movie coming out?" Question mark. And he just quoted the tweet and said, "Do you guys want one?" And like so many retweets and favorites hit that, and then he never like replied to it again. So maybe that was the birthing point of, hey, people want a Psych film. Maybe we should do this. Now, I don't know how things have worked in the past where they turn TV shows into movies. I feel like I can think of like kids shows that do it, and obviously they do successful with money, but are never really good. I'm curious to see with a show like Psych, has it kind of, I'd call it like a cult. Sorry about that, folks. We had some technical difficulties going on there with our recording software, but we were talking Psych movie. Psych is kind of like a smaller show. I have only met like a handful of people that really like enjoy that show. It was me and my mom that watched it. It's not really anybody else in my family watches it. I came to college, met a ton of people, and out of all the people I've met, only one person is a fan of it. And so it's kind of a smaller show. I mean, you look at other shows that got turned into big movies. Simpsons movie, obviously everybody knows The Simpsons. Entourage, big show, HBO has huge budget. They made a big movie. Psych, it kind of isn't on the level of Simpsons and Entourage, though. So I'm kind of curious as to why now. But I don't know. I'm a huge fan. I love the stars, and they're not really talking about it. They're kind of lucky that Dule Hill's movie Slate, however the fuck you say it, is coming out this week because they're really promoting him as a good friend to him. But really, they're not talking about it. Only but a ton of news has popped up. Like I said, this came out this morning. But what do you guys think this movie can do to try and become popular and become like a good idea rather than a bad idea for coming out? This new Psych ended in 2014, so this is 3 years later. Why would this be a good idea and why would this be a bad idea?
It's a good idea if it's like a limited release TV movie, which we said before we had our fucking technical difficulties. So I hope I didn't say that before. But yeah, Psych's a very fun show, and I think it could benefit from being a TV release strictly for its audience because it doesn't need a big budget. I haven't seen enough of Psych to give a strong input on this, but I would definitely watch a movie because from what I've seen, James Roday and Dule Hill, great chemistry, very entertaining show. So yeah, I buy this. I would just have to do a little more research and watch a little more of the show to understand the inside jokes.
Yeah. Well, when I think of TV movies, or movies based off a television show, Jesus. When there's a movie based off a TV show, I always get worried because usually they don't perform that well in the box office. Let's look at Entourage, for example. They had a budget of $30 million, and in North America, they made 32. So they turned a profit, yes, but it's not very good. And so I agree with you, Mike, that it should really be a TV movie, especially for something like Psych that I would argue has a lesser audience than that of Entourage. You know,
it definitely does.
Are you an Entourage fan? Have you watched Entourage?
I've seen the movie. Didn't like it that much.
Because I don't watch Entourage either, but I'm kind of curious as to how they handled their last episode. To see how they would like make a movie after that.
What I heard was the movie for the general audience wasn't good, but for fans of the show, it was very good.
Yeah.
But
was the movie kind of acted as the last episode?
I have no idea. I have no idea. You can't expect it to make a lot of money too. Like if they gave Psych a big budget and made it a movie, it would fucking bomb. So you have to make it a TV movie, I think, which is a good option. And I'm always for wrapping up a series with a TV movie. I think it's a smart thing to do. I just don't think they should ever be wide releases. The only one to successfully do it, and I don't even know if it made a ton of money, was Serenity, which wrapped up Firefly, which I've heard is a great movie to add to it, which is kind of a rarity.
What watching Psych through, I'm a huge fan of the show, like I said. The final episode wrapped up like a bow, everybody's storylines, but also implied that they're going to be doing this forever. Sean and Gus and the Chief and Juliet are going to be not in Santa Barbara anymore, but in San Francisco doing the same thing. They opened up a psych office, and they're going to be psychic detectives for San Francisco rather than Santa Barbara, and it's going to go on forever. So I liked the ending. It wrapped up perfectly, like I said, with a bow. And it was the implication that said this is going to go on forever. So now 3 years later, here we are. And they want to do a movie. I'm curious as to, usually the psych episodes run an hour long. So and one crime per episode. That's usually how crime comedies or crime dramas go. So I'm curious as to see how they do this. I'm interested. Obviously, I'm a psych fan. But whether they do a TV movie or a bigger budget, wide release movie, I want to see what kind of story they can tell, because the show ended perfectly, and I'm a psych fan and I always want more psych, but I don't know if this movie is a bridge to season 9, or if it's just hey, let's just do a 2-hour-long psych episode just for the hell of it, just to make fans happy. You know?
The problem I think these always run into is they don't focus enough on the story, and they just think, what would the fans want? And I think the fans would get more out of it if you went unconventional and did something of value to the story.
Yeah, that'd be good to add to it.
I mean, that's what they'd have to do, but if it's pushed forward, we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see as this kind of develops here. But any last thoughts?
No.
Excited to see this going forward. Any news going forward for this is good.
Yeah.
So just excited for this as a psych fan. Let's move into that movie review, eh?
All right. We saw a movie this week. We saw The Lost City of Z, which had its wide theatrical release. It was filmed in early 2016, but it was just made available to a wider audience last week. And so we saw it. It's directed and written by James Gray. I've not seen any of his previous work, not familiar with it at all. But this is a movie based on a true story, the true story of British explorer Colonel Percival Fawcett, who disappeared while searching for a mysterious city in the Amazon in the 1920s. It's a very, very cool setting. It piqued our interest, especially with its cast, starring Charlie Hunnam, Robert Pattinson, Sienna Miller, and Tom Holland. You guys want to just break right into it here?
I say we break right into it.
All right. I'm going to start us off with the positives for this movie, things we enjoyed about it. I really liked the different places that this movie brought us to. It was very pretty to see it all be consistently shot well, from London to the Irish country to seeing the Amazon. Very, very cool seeing it. It was very pretty looking. Charlie Hunnam was also just awesome in it. God, he gave a great performance.
Great mustache.
Yeah, great mustache.
Great hair.
Oh, great hair.
It's funny that the movie took place over like 30 years of his life, and he had the same haircut the entire time.
Just slightly got a bit more gray every time they'd flash forward.
Yeah. Not to mention, if we're talking about notable performances, Robert Pattinson knocked it out of the park. I haven't seen him in anything since Twilight, and he was very, very good. I think he should be taken more seriously by people. He was fantastic. Sienna Miller, also a good mention there. She was very good as his wife. And Tom Holland, who most know as Marvel's Spider-Man. You can tell that this was filmed in early 2016 because before he was shot as Spider-Man, Tom Holland had this obnoxious nose mole, and it's in this movie. And people, let me tell you, if moles bother you, Tom Holland's gonna bother you in this movie. I couldn't look at anything but his goddamn nose the whole time.
Luckily, he's not in it enough.
No, but that's my positives. Dan, what do you got?
The mole is unrelated to anything in the movie.
The mole's a 1 out of 5 Goldblums.
I didn't even notice the mole in this movie. I didn't care to even look for the mole in this movie. So
Not a big mole guy.
No, I'm not a mole guy either, but you know.
I mean, nobody likes moles.
They're not all first round picks with the moles. Unlike Mitchell Trubisky, who got picked by the Bears. Fucking stupidly.
So what'd you think of the movie?
What are your positives of
okay. All right.
the movie?
Ryan said everything I feel. The acting was awesome. Robert Pattinson was awesome. And the way it was directed, the storytelling was really good. I liked the story that was told. I'm glad I saw the movie. It kind of showed society versus jungle, kind of man's ambitions. It told a lot of stories. And and it did it well, but also telling a lot of stories in a very long movie is also kind of its downfall as well. But overall, it didn't take away from me. This is my opinion. For some people it could, but overall I enjoyed the movie. I think it's good. And I think the positives outweigh the negatives, but there are still negatives that we'll address soon. But Mike, what are your positives?
I would counter the good directing, Mark. It was well shot, 100%, but the pacing also falls on the direction. And the pacing of this movie is slow. Yeah. So that was just a quick thing. I know we're on the positives, but I would forget if I waited a little longer. You guys said all the things I could say about the performances. I can't wait to see Charlie Hunnam going forward, especially as King Arthur in a couple of weeks. I'm interested to see him and Jude Law duke it out. The battling of the conditions was very cool when they were in the Amazon. You could really feel the struggle, even though I think this movie should have been rated R. It would have been a little more gruesome and packed a little more punch, but I really enjoyed seeing them fight disease, Indians. Are they Indians? Like Mexican Indians?
No, that's what they were calling them, just because America had already called their Native Americans Indians going forward. But they call them Indians, but they are certainly not. They're like Spanish, Central American, South American people.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, The View, how they labeled them Indians, was very relevant to today. How they dealt with race in this movie, I really enjoyed, because it I don't know, it just had a very relevant feel to it, and it came out at a good time, I thought. Like I said, the jungle was very entertaining, by far the best part. I enjoyed this movie a lot, but you guys said most of the positives I had. I would give this movie alone for Charlie Hunnam is like a 5 out of 5 Goldblum's performance, but he's just not in a 5 out of 5 movie.
Yeah. I'll begin our negative section now. Aside from the cellular growth that is Tom Holland's mole, there's a lot of other negatives in this movie. This movie, I felt drained after we got out of it. It was 2 hours and 21 minutes, a very long movie, but what made it longer was how poorly it juggled so many different types of movies this movie tried to fit into it. Most notably, it had this weird feminist agenda that it was trying to push through Colonel Fawcett's wife. Throughout the film was trying to accompany him on his travels and sort of break gender norms. At the time, she would have been stuck in the house raising the kids, but she wanted to travel with him. She didn't want to be stuck, And this piqued my interest when I got out of the film. So later, I looked up things about his wife in real life, even though this is based on a true story. And she actually was very supportive of his ventures in the jungle, and actually didn't want to go because the jungle is hell. And why would anyone want to go there?
Well, in the first 2 acts, she's very supportive, and they hold that well. And then the third act kind of crumbles. They just put too many storylines with their family in there, I thought. And you hit it on the head. Like, they didn't need the feminism aspect in it. It was already going well.
And not just the feminist aspect. It got crowded by a war story. It got crowded by a story about his kids. Too many things. I think if it stuck to the central, his career in exploring the jungle and putting more of an action twist on it, this movie probably would have been more successful and more accessible to an audience. And I don't think it's an excuse to say that this movie was more about art or more about his life, because I think that's a poor excuse for how many things this movie tried to do.
It was definitely... You said you hadn't seen the trailer. I did. I thought it was marketed incorrectly. Yeah. Like I said, I enjoyed it, but it's definitely more of an art house film, and it's a biopic. It's not... The title's kind of like doesn't steer you in the right way. Yes, he's looking for this civilization, and it's the central focus, but they just focus on every aspect of his life, the war, his family. Yeah. It's a biopic nonetheless.
And focusing it on everything. Was very, very much struggling this.
Unnecessarily focusing on everything. What I really kind of didn't like was, I agree with you, but the way this film was put together was that there'd be a half an hour in the jungle, and then a half an hour in civilization, and then a half hour in the jungle, and then a half hour in civilization, and then a half.
Well, the last act, it's about 15-15 because
Yeah.
it feels a little rushed at the end.
Yeah, and I just think that was the wrong way to do it, because you do a half an hour in the jungle, and then all of a sudden the next half hour portion of the movie was like 7 years later or whatever, or like a couple years later, and you're supposed to assume all these things like for yourself. And like it never shows the wife while he's in the jungle. He talks about his wife while he's in the jungle, but then all of a sudden you're supposed to assume these things about her character. 2 years later, she's raising 3 kids by herself, and he's out in the jungle, and we haven't seen these kids, and all of a sudden they're grown up and have these personalities where they try to make Tom Holland into a character like fully, and you find out very little about him, but I feel like you're supposed to know. And this movie's just way too long. I mean, like 2 hours and 21 minutes doesn't really sound like the longest movie you've ever seen. Like it's not Gone with the Wind or anything like that, or the fucking Return of the King on TNT when it's like 5 hours. But like, it's like it really drags on, and like the positives. It's not impossible to take the positives out of it, but the last hour of the movie I felt like was so dragged on. Not that it was bad, not that I was like, oh, this movie sucks, I want it to end. It was just like, I've enjoyed this movie to this point, but how much fucking more are they going to fit into this last hour? And it turned out a lot. They just kept shoving stuff in your face literally until the very last second of the film. They just kept shoving more stories at you, shoving more plot points in there. And that's what I didn't like. Overall, I still enjoyed the movie, but damn was it long, and damn was there so much shit.
I think what Dan and I got out of it more was I think the performances and the jungle scenes made us enjoy it, and I just don't think you were as invested in those segments. So I think it's like a very close line to how we felt about it. Like I think we see the same stuff with it. I just think we enjoyed and disliked things a little more than one another. So I think we all have a similar feeling on it.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else you want to say, Mike?
No, you guys kind of said it all. It was the big things that it was over long and marketed incorrectly. Sure. And those are my only things. I enjoyed the biopic a lot, and I was entertained throughout. It was just fucking long. That's all it really came down to for me. And
I mean, holy moly, Tom Holland.
Oh my god.
Oh, you're here with the
But for individual scores, I would give The Lost City of Z a 2 out of 5 Goldblums. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody unless you're looking to, just feel drains. But there's a lot of other ways to do that. What is your score, Dan?
I'd give it 3.5 to kind of maybe around 3 and 3/4 Goldblums.
You're really getting fractional there.
So we're kind of approaching a Independence Day, but kind of more leaning down towards The Fly, but more leaning towards Independence Day. I really enjoyed the film, but and I'm glad I saw it. It's just like some of the negatives were just like the last hour of the movie. Like you shouldn't be waiting for the movie to end almost. And like I said, like I wasn't waiting for it to end because I hated it, but I was waiting for it to end because I had seen enough almost, But 3.75 Goldblums.
All right, Mike.
I'm at 3.5. Entertained it. Good movie I will never see again. That's how I view it. And this gives us around a net score of 3 out of 5 Goldblums. Could have used a little more Goldblums. Wasn't the worst Goldblum out there. So we're looking at The Fly. I think that's what our equivalence is to.
Can you imagine if Goldblum was in this movie? Like, what if Goldblum was like, holy shit, fucking Ian McDermott, the Emperor from Star Wars, was in it.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
That's the only movie I've ever seen him in other than fucking Star Wars.
It was weird.
And he wasn't the Emperor, though. Like, there was no lightning hands.
This could have used lightning hands. I probably
It
would
could
have
have
liked it more.
used lightning hands, but Ian McDermott was great in it, but no Goldblum.
Yeah. So a composite score of 3 Goldblums, right?
3 Goldblums.
3 Goldblums.
You heard it here. So
Which
that's our
is
review.
basically, unless you're super, super interested in this story, wait for it to come out on DVD, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what is our next topic, Mike?
You know, in light of seeing The Lost City of Z, which is somewhat of a survival movie, and we talked about The Grey recently, we're going to play a little survival game. We're going to go through 3 different climates. You got the Amazon, you got the polar/frozen tundra, and you got the desert. We're going to do like a survival game. You get 3 options of a what's
Tool.
like tool you get to use to survive. And you have to hunt and gather your own stuff and essentially survive on your own. So, we're going to start with the Amazon. The Amazon has diseases, lots of predators. Really, you got to fight for food and fight to be on top of the food chain here. So, the tools, you get 3 options. You can either get a rifle, which has 5 bullets in it, a first aid kit, or a camouflage suit to blend in. Now, Ryan, what are you picking in the Amazon?
Okay, so if I find myself ever in a survival situation, there's a good chance I'm going to die. But if I'm thinking about prolonging, I wouldn't last. I'd probably just trip,
It's not the
break
object of
my
this
leg.
game.
I know, but if I'm thinking of things that are going to prolong my life as much as possible, I'm assuming I'm not going to make it out. But if I want to make it like a good few days, out of those 3, that is a rifle with 5 bullets. That is a first aid kit, and what is the last one? Camouflage. Camouflage. Okay. I'm gonna say the first aid kit. Especially in the jungle, you're exposed to the elements, and exposure is one of the things that wastes you way more than even thirst or hunger. And so, with the first aid kit, I'm gonna be able to heal things like if I get cut, which is gonna be very likely. I'm gonna be able to get rid of infection, which could easily cut me down. If there is hydrogen peroxide that can help me actually make clean drinking water, which is going to be a huge problem to find out there. So I'm going to go with the first aid kit. Let's assume it's a medium-sized one. Maybe there's not hydrogen peroxide.
you have what you need.
I'm going to go with that. I think that lasts me the best out there. I'm going to worry about my own health first.
I was thinking that too, but then I thought if you have a first aid kit, which you definitely need, but if that's the one thing you choose, it's almost like you're waiting to get injured, I think. You know, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to hunt and gather your own stuff. I feel like with the first aid kit, it's like when you run out, you're fucked.
That's true.
So I was kind of, I laid more in the self-defense line of I would go with the, originally I was thinking rifle, but now I'm thinking camouflage, because camouflage I could hide in plain sight and I could make my own, like sticks and shit to kill stuff with. And so yeah, I'm going with the camouflage, because I think blending in might be the best thing, and you could maneuver around and look for what you need without being seen by all the predators and shit. Now you can get disease, so you're fucked if you don't have the first aid kit. But yeah, I'm going with the camouflage. Stu, what are you thinking in this scenario?
All right, I'm going to go through all 3 of them and say why I wouldn't pick them, and then I'm going to pick my one.
Oh, so just forget the format?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the camo. I'm not picking the camo because I'm not a douche who lives in Missouri and thinks I can wear camo and drive trucks and mud.
That's
and
not
shit.
that's not the objective of the camo here.
All right, the first aid kit. That'd be kind of cool, but the first aid kit doesn't have a burger in it, so that kind of throws that out the picture.
I guess.
All right, but I'm going with the rifle with 5 rounds. Okay, I'm going to count out my rounds here. Killing animals for food. Killing animals for food. Kill an animal for food. Kill an animal for food. All right, leave 1 round in there. I survive as long as I can on food. There are freshwater streams somewhere in the Amazon. I've watched enough episodes of Man vs. Wild to know how to find them. So I think I could find water. How do we get rescued? Is there any rescue team that's coming to look for us, or is it just like, holy fuck, I'm stuck out here for some
Just
reason?
make it as long as
You
can.
can't. Yeah, let's make it as long as you can. Let's assume you can get rescued, but this is in this scenario, you're trying to survive as long as you can.
All right, so I saved that last bullet. All right. If I never come and get rescued, I blow my brains out.
That's fair.
Definitely fair.
All right, so there you go. Try and you take the rifle, kill as many animals as I can with 4 bullets. Save the last one for my fucking temple.
I also I don't disagree with that theory, but my other thought with the rifle too is you can conserve your ammo and craft other things you might possibly need, and only in like the rarest of occasions if you need to use the rifle. It's like a last resort type of scenario. So that's kind of what my thought was on it.
All right.
But yeah, so we all thought different things,
What's our next
and
scenario?
we definitely all die.
Yeah.
But the next scenario is the frozen tundra. And in the frozen tundra, you have shit like wolves. Obviously, it's fucking cold.
Yeah.
And, other shit's going on. Trying to find water is a kind of a pain in the ass. And so frozen tundra is our next one, our next climate. And our 3 tools, you could either have a tent, you could have faggots available to make fires.
What?
Yeah, faggots is a bundle of sticks. That's how you make fires.
Okay.
Faggots is a bundle of sticks that the British people used to fucking roast gay people on.
No, faggots are a bundle
So
of
you
sticks.
have firewood. Let's rephrase it.
All right, firewood. I'm just saying,
All right.
a bundle of sticks.
Why'd you have to say faggots?
You
now?
just wanted
Because
to say
that's
fag.
what it is.
All right,
problematic.
Firewood.
And then you have a gun again
With 5 rounds.
with 5 rounds.
Okay.
So you have the ability to make fires, like a good supply of firewood. You won't have a problem making them, or a tent or a gun.
Okay. Tent. I'm gonna choose tent because exposure in a tundra is probably the thing that's most likely to kill you. You have to worry about the cold before anything else, and shelter is gonna be the number one thing that gets you through it probably. And if you don't end up using that, there's a ton of fabric in there that can be used for holding things. You can use it to add on extra layers. There's a whole a plethora of things you could do with that tent, and it has a whole lot of potential to be used for other things. I would say it's a far more useful thing than anything else. And with the firewood, that's a horrible choice because then you have to carry around firewood and you have no way of really holding it on you nicely, and that's just a burden. And there's no guarantee that that's going to be even something you can light. We don't really know if we have matches or anything like that. So I'm going to go with the tent.
I'm with you on the tent.
All right.
Yeah, I agree that the conditions is by far the worst thing. And if you happen to run into a polar bear or a pack of wolves, the 5 rounds probably isn't enough anyway.
No.
So yeah, I'm going with the tent 'cause that'll probably get you, and you can carry it around and it'll get you from place to place. So yeah, I'm going with the tent as well.
I'm going with the rifle.
5 rounds.
All right, 5 rounds. Okay, so here we go.
I'm assuming it's going to result in a similar way.
Immediate suicide?
No,
Is that
no,
what you're going to do?
no.
Okay.
Okay, so here's what I do. I use the rifle. I kill a couple of wolves. Use that 3rd bullet to kill a polar bear. All right. Those are my pelts, okay? I make warm clothes out of those animals.
Okay.
So now I'm clothed and I am protected from the conditions. Same thing the tent's doing. Now what I do is I use skills to use branches and everything like that to make a shelter near some rocks and stuff like that to kind of make my own hole. That protects me from conditions as well. I also still have the meat from the animals I killed. The polar bear meat could last me 2 weeks.
A long while.
And maybe 3 weeks.
Depending on how hungry you are.
No, because it's cold, so the meat's going to be frozen. So that kind of keeps it safe. Now, also with wood, it'd take some work, but I've seen enough episodes of Man vs. Wild to where I could try and replicate a technique and try and get some fire going. Also, I could use the gunpowder from that 4th bullet to create a fire also. Now, water is fresh. Cold water is fresh. Since it is frozen, it's cold. It keeps out from getting bad. So water is fresh. I could survive for a very long time in the cold. Now, if nobody's coming to save me in my little man cave with my pelts and my fire and my meat and my fresh water, that fifth bullet is going right through the roof of my mouth into my fucking brain and out the back. And then, it's going to look like cave paintings. Like I'm going to have fucking blood and brains on the wall.
Danny the Revenant Stewart.
Yeah, basically. So, that's how it works. I went rifle on that. So let's.
You were thinking much bigger picture than we were.
Yeah.
I would say the case he made is much better.
Well, like you said,
assuming we can do all those things.
I've seen The Revenant and I've seen Man vs. Wild, and if it were the situation, I'd do that and then kill myself. So let's move on to that third environment.
All right. The third environment is the desert. Now, you could have a portable Jeep that has, you have a full tank, but it will run out depending on how much you use it. And then you could also use it for shelter. And then the other one you could have is a jug of water, or you could have a flare gun for the fucking hope that there's someone that sees it and helps you out. So, Dan, let's start with you on this one. What are you going with? I'm assuming you're going with the flare gun and immediately putting it in your mouth.
No, let's think about these. I haven't thought about this. All right, so the Jeep, shelter and transportation. After about a day, that turns into just shelter because there's not enough gas. Like, you're not fucking hitting the Citgo every fucking 5 miles to fill up on gas. So the Jeep kind of becomes rendered useless after only a little bit. Shelter's fine enough until, it's fucking metal and the heat will just fucking make it unbearable to sit in there anyway. Jug of water, I'd drink that in a heartbeat. It's a lot of water, and it's pretty hot out in the desert, so I'd probably drink that all too at once, or use it to shower, like in the Old Spice commercials. So that'd be a waste, so I wouldn't do that. I think I'm going flare gun on this one because, there's about 1 round in there, so the odds that somebody sees it are fucking astronomical. And I don't like the hot. I'm not a big hot guy, so I'm a big fat guy. Deserts, they and I don't see eye to eye. And that flare gun is going right through one ear and out the other. And, I'm killing myself in this situation. So, Ryan, what would you choose?
Well, we're talking about preserving ourselves as long as we can. I don't think the Jeep's going to help that very much. Like we're looking at no chance of rescue, maybe. So I don't need...
In this one, there's a chance because that's the point of the flare gun.
Okay.
Not a huge... It's possible.
I'm not taking the Jeep or the flare gun because I just don't think that there'd be the odds. So, let's worry about self-preservation the most. The jug of water won't get you very far, but it provides a little bit of nourishment. Obviously, you're still in the fucking sun, but we'll do what we can. So I'm going to go with the jug of water just to preserve yourself as long as I can.
Yeah, the desert is the worst scenario by far. Stranded in the desert, you're kind of...
That kind of sucks.
That's it. I'm going to go with the flare gun, roll the dice, hope someone shows up, shoot that thing. If it doesn't, I'll let a fucking snake bite me and I'll die.
That sounds slow, painful, and terrible.
Yeah.
With the flare gun, you just shoot yourself in the head.
You're either burning to death, dying of heat exhaustion, or you're gonna get bit by a fucking snake, or some little asshole scorpion's gonna peck you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a fucking...
You never want to be in a
wait,
desert.
is it like an African desert? Is it an American desert?
It's a horrible hot desert. I don't know.
If it's an American desert, oh man, there aren't lions there, but there are.
There's not lions in an African desert either.
Yeah, there are. I saw the Planet Earth. I saw the Planet Earth episode of the desert. There are lions.
We're talking about different kinds of deserts then. Like, are we considering the Serengeti a desert?
Yeah, if it's
are we talking the
Serengeti,
Sahara?
Yeah, that's a good point.
The Serengeti is certainly desert-like, but it's
no.
not.
We're talking Sahara.
Okay,
yeah,
then
Sahara.
there's no lions.
No. Yeah, that's true.
What else was I going to say? Oh, if it's an American desert, then there's a coyote trying to catch a roadrunner bird. And he always just seems to have supplies. So if you run into him, then you have large Acme bombs. You have TNT. You have a hole in the ground to where you can kind of go and plot ways to catch that goddamn bird. And if, say, you catch him, then you got a food supply.
Very small amount.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's the goal of catching that bird that gets you through every day. I mean, this coyote's been chasing after that bird for like 50 years, Like, by the point you get it, you might have a graduate situation where you're just like, oh, what do I do now? But, I mean, it's got to be really fucking good to catch that roadrunner, right?
It'll never happen.
It's not good. It's a done deal.
But that's our three little survival situations there.
That's it.
All right.
We die in all of them.
We're not skilled at anything. I think we'd all die very quickly.
In the situation, you are skilled.
Well, that's that. That's
well,
a
that's
big
the
assumption.
fucking point. Dan
I
went
guess.
on that whole thing of what he'd do. Like, obviously, yes, we die, but this isn't a fucking fake scenario
well, I did
where
not
we're
know
like
this.
Percy Fawcett from The Lost City
Okay.
of Z.
Well, there you have it.
What if you could just be the Human Torch out there, huh?
Well, that makes the desert probably easier.
Yeah.
It makes anything
Probably
easier.
fly out.
Yeah.
Burn that fucking jungle to the ground. You're hot when it's cold outside in that fucking tundra. All right, this just got fucking ridiculous.
And we are
I'm sorry.
delirious. That is this week's podcast. Any final thoughts?
Come back next week. We love your
Guardians?
listener. Oh yeah,
We'll be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 next week.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited as well.
Oh, fuck. We didn't talk about how we're going to be cowboys.
Tomorrow,
mention
Tomorrow, we are going to be dressing up like cowboys. The three of us, we went out to this cowboy store. We got fucking
Larry's.
hats.
Larry's.
Yeah, shout out to Larry's. Go to Larry's Boots. It's off of I-70 in Missouri. They have over 10,000 pair. of
Larry
boots.
doesn't pay us dick either.
No, this is free advertising for Larry, unless Larry wants to, pay us for saying this. But they have over 10,000 pairs of boots. They have hats. All three of us bought hats. Ryan and I bought boots. Ryan also bought a shirt. We're going to look good. Check us out on Instagram, on Facebook, and Twitter.
Yeah.
We'll be at Shiloh's.
And we're going to be out and dressed like cowboys, and it's going to be fun. But tell your friends to listen to us, subscribe, like us, all that dog shit, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, that's this week's podcast. And as always, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Blue, blue, blue.